Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Random Crafty Acts. Welcome back. Welcome here if you haven't been here before. My name is Barb. We are winding down and almost finished with what I have been calling the big project, and that is making a whole bunch of happy summer cards in the same way that I typically make Christmas cards. So I'm down to the last 6. I've been working through them, trying to figure out if there was anything I hadn't done. And first of all, I had to find a picture for here. This is a style that we've used throughout. And it worked really well here. And then you'll notice that this looks a little bit different right around this edge. And that's because the one thing I hadn't done was any die cutting. This is a kind of die cutting. I'm basically going to die cut this design around the outside using what's called a nesting die. I looked at another way to do die cutting. I have several that do things like this. Okay. And then I would have had to have come up with a whole different picture to put in the middle. And remember the part about figuring out how much work you want to put in? I pretty much have reached that end. We're going to be using Distress Oxide Tattered Rose to do the background. And I'm going to die cut 1, 2, 3, 4 backgrounds. And I'm going to die cut one, let you watch me do that. Then I'm going to pause the video and die cut the other 4, and then we'll probably chat a little bit while I finish up the backgrounds. Okay. So let's move some things out of the way. I am very fortunate to have a good amount of space. Okay, so here's what nested dies look like. They come in packs like this. I have circles and squares and diamonds and other weird shapes. Okay. And with some of them, you can put, like, I've got a set that I can put together, and it creates borders. You can use them to, these impress, they don't cut out the center, but a lot of the other ones I have do. So you can do a lot of different things with them. You basically, let's bring the big shot in. I think I need to set it. Yeah, I need to set it this way. Okay. And see what's in frame. That's in frame. Okay, so to do this kind of mat, you have your standard platform. This is referred to as a shim. In this case, it is part of the thin die adapter. And it's to make sure that whatever you have on here is thick enough that there's a big metal roller right in underneath here that you want that mechanical action to happen. Okay, the hardest part of this, and I'm going to take just a little piece of tape just in case. I'm going to have to stand up. So this is the hardest part of this, is getting this on even all the way around. And then keeping it there while you put the plastic on top, while you turn it so it doesn't shift. The magic mat is very helpful in this, so that you don't have to keep replacing these, because the acrylic mats do get warped, and you'll see it pushing through there. Okay. That's my air conditioner coming on because it is summer. It has been, believe it or not, raining. Again, if you have watched this series, it has rained almost every day. Okay, and so what you see is this impression all the way around. So I'll cut one more, just so you can see how it looks. Okay, and I know I'm probably kind of out of frame here with this. Just line it up, and this is like the lightest level of painter's tape that my husband has in his workshop, which is the other place that I go to the store. So I go into his workshop and I find, oh look, you have these, and I think I can use them. Okay. And then when you put it back through the next time, you flip this over. And I just keep using the same piece of tape. 2. That's 2. 3. I know I said I was going to pause the video, but this isn't taking that long. So a couple things about this project that I've figured out. I think maybe when I started in at the beginning, maybe I should have looked a little more closely at how I wanted to divide up the cards. See, I have 6 to add to the stack, and I had the number written down somewhere. I'll have to see if I can find it, but I think we're at pretty close to 50 cards. The garden has reached full bloom. And if you are watching these videos, you can go over to my channel, Random Crafty Axe, and you can click on the playlist that says Garden Walk, and then you'll be able to see the whole garden that way. We live in Southern Illinois. This is the time of year that daylilies bloom. So it is something that if you've been following different people on Facebook and they have gardens and they plant flowers, it would be one of the times of year that you would be seeing a lot of that. Okay, so there's all 4 of those. Let's go ahead and set this back out of the way. So the next step is stress out. Now here's the other thing about doing die cutting. This is a nice big piece, so the likelihood that I'm going to misplace this on my desk is pretty slim, right? But I've done some that have itsy bitsy teeny tiny little bitty pieces that you really can't make what you're trying to do without, and those little pieces can easily get away from you. So these little tops like this that I actually cut off of this thing that you had screws or nuts or bolts or something in. Again, workshop shopping. I will keep one of these out and put the dies in them as I cut them and take them off of the plates. And I will also use them to keep the little pieces in, because, you know, it looks like you've got a lot of space here, and I do. But it's amazing how quickly those little pieces get away from you. So remember, we started at the outside edge. This is Tattered Rose. I pulled this color out of the bottom of my box of ink pads. I'm surprised that I was really surprised that it wasn't dried out, because I don't know that back when I bought this, I was doing a lot of pink. Notice I'm using a bigger brush than some of the little one that you saw me use. Mostly because I'm trying to cover more ground a little more quickly. They make some great big brush things, but I have one of those, I think, somewhere. I'm not sure where it's at, and it's not something that I've tended to use. In my card making, I had been doing a lot of patterned paper of late, so this particular project has been about getting my older supplies out and figuring out what I had and going back through some of the things I did very early on before I felt like I really knew what I was doing. Not that I consider myself an expert now, but I do feel like I know how to do a lot more than I did a couple of years ago. I've been doing all this for about 5 years now. Early on, I think I've mentioned, I did a lot of art journaling, and when you check on my channel, you'll see a section called, it's titled ASMR, which I don't remember exactly what that stands for at this point, but it basically means no talking, so that you experience the sounds of the crafting. In a couple of them, I added music in the background, just to see what that would be like. A lot of what you're seeing at this point with me and YouTube is part of the learning curve. I mean, this has all been new to me as far as doing a channel, and my purpose, aside from just giving me something else to learn how to do, my purpose is also to try to provide a source for people who are getting into card making, where we actually go through the basics. I'm not selling anything. I don't belong to any of the crafting organizations. I'm not affiliated with any of the companies whose products I use, which is common. I mean, a lot of us out here doing this are actually doing it to try to make some money, which you can't blame someone for that. But I'm also a volunteer at Operation Gratitude, and one of the areas that I donate in are the cards. We leave our greeting cards blank on the inside. There are, from what I understand, typically 5 cards that will go in each care package going over to deployed service people. And they can then use them to write notes in and write letters home. These cards are going out to my family and friends, but most of my cards that I make go to Operation Gratitude. So the other mass making playlists that you're going to see when you check out my channel, those are always going to be very, very beginner friendly. As you move from doing, most of what we have done on this is considered very simple. This is not complex. This is not taking a bunch of teeny tiny dies and making it look like a teddy bear or a fox or any of the other wonderful things that I can do with some of the ones I've got. Like for this, you do have to, this and the embossing that we did earlier, that I think is actually my favorite of everything I've done. You do have to have a machine of some kind, and there are several out there. I like the one I have because it's a size that I can move around and handle. It actually folds all up. Those pieces that stick out the front and the back fold up, and it can be, it's not, totally compact, but it's pretty easy to store. I have one that the plates that stick out are a full size 8 8.5 by 11, if not a little bit bigger. And I bought that early on because I thought I was going to be doing some different things than what I ended up doing. So, and I don't know that this one was even available at that time. Okay. All right, we have those done. Set that out of the way. That's a cleanup project. Okay, this is the part that gets a little touchy. It's not hard, it's just, you know, you want to take your time. I use Bearly Arts glue. I have really good luck with Bearly Arts glue. Okay, all that. This is a picture from the center of the garden. This is one of the pictures that I waited on for so long because the flowers bloom at different rates. Okay, so you want to tuck this right in the corner along the edge of the lines that you ended up with. If you look, there's like a slight indent there. And then do the same thing with this one down in the corner. I'm going to use my reversible tweezers. I've mentioned before, if there are any tools you really will find helpful, these are one. Okay, and then I decided, which side did I? Okay, put these on the right side. And then I've got a whole bunch of buds there that I kind of wanted to cover up. So I just put that over the top. And then I guess if you followed the whole series, you'll remember the one that I put this on wrong and had to rip it off and start over. But again, see, the Bearly Arts glue allows me to kind of scooch that around just a little bit. Boy, that came out nice. I really like the way these colors match up. I'm really glad I made the decision to use the 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 black matting. I could have used a dark green instead of black. I mentioned earlier that one of the reasons I didn't do that is that I have had a terrible time finding that dark green. Look at that. I'm really happy with that. Okay, I'm going to pause the video and do these other three. Okay, these are the last 6. There will be one more video. I will get all the other cards out and kind of go through them and show you again, just, you know, with a brief description of what I basically did. So I've kept track. So I have 42 plus 6 is 48. I have a couple of pieces like this that I did when I was experimenting. I don't need 6 more. I've got more than I need right now. I might go in and do something with these two. This color palette didn't work. The red didn't work very well with what we had in the garden. This was more of a experiment. I've got an idea of what I might do with a couple of these. So, but that's another thing. This has the die cut edge. This obviously just has the ink blended. I worked with an oxide, which meant I had to be careful as I was working with the glue because oxide inks will interact with the moisture. I think that's it. If you have not subscribed to my channel, I would appreciate it if you would do so. It doesn't cost you anything. You won't start getting texts. You won't start getting emails. You won't get phone calls. It won't. I don't think you even have to set up a YouTube account in order to do that. What that does is, you know, everything runs with the algorithm now, and the more subscribers I have, the more likes that there are in the videos, the more likely it is that when the algorithm is sorting the videos as far as like what comes up, if someone clicks on mass card making, it increases the likelihood that it will be my channel. And what that will do is help more card makers find my link to Operation Gratitude, which is what my goal is. Okay. After I show you the rest of the cards, I'm not gonna go into any detail about what we put on the inside. That will be a personalized note, will go here, and I'm working on some kind of an image that will go here that says something wonderful about summer, or maybe a personalized note. There will be a tag on the back that lets the person who gets the card know that if they want to watch how the card was made, they could come to the YouTube channel. Again, if you go to the YouTube channel and you click on, which you can get to by clicking on Random Crafty X, and then you click on the area that says playlist, there's one that says garden walk, and pretty much every day I walk through the garden and take a video, and then I post it, and you would be able to see what it looks like up close. It's pretty amazing. All right, thank you very much for sharing your time with me, and I hope you enjoyed this. And check out the last video, or the next video, which will be the last video, so you can see what all the cards look like. Thank you.